midway, like it's just unplayable. But my Rakan is not ulting to save me, like... Oh, motherfucker, go next then, go next. You're not playing the game. On your one timer you die, and then you're just AFK, and you pick Rakan. When I first pick Caitlyn, you need to be perma banned. Disgusting. If we had Rain support, this game was winnable. If we had Karma or Nami, it was winnable, but with Rakan it's not.
I feel like I know what's coming.
Champs into their draft. Completely dog shit draft. Somebody needs to get banned for the champions they drafted this game. They need to get banned. They need to get banned. Yeah, I had a feeling it was reckless. It was smurfing, but it's not enough.
He was smurfing.
He was smurfing.
So in a shock announcement, the Rats are back. But they're missing two of their most important ingredients, ones that were literally the heart and soul of the team. So today, Witchcraft was announced on socials. Just a group of dudes who still want to compete, assembled around what they themselves have called a short-term project. The roster is Velia, Nemesis, Crowny, Reckless, and in the absence of Baus, the highly controversial Bwipo. Yamato, Cannon, and Shaves return back as head and assistant coach, but Cadril will have absolutely nothing to do with the team other than cheer them on, of course. They enter as the NLC's 4th seed and will be competing in EMEA Masters 2026 Winter, which kicks off on the 9th of March. Their stated goal is to finish at least 2nd at Masters to qualify for the Esports World Cup. So even though it might be short-lived, there's a real competitive target and a tight window to hit it. Now, from basically day one of Los Returnes, Baus was always clear that full-time professional play wasn't really his end goal. He's a streamer first and has never pretended otherwise. He loves the game, clearly has the skill. If you watched him in LEC Versus, you saw some genuinely beautiful Scion play, but the grind that comes with being a pro player, the scrims, the structure, the constant accountability, that was never really the lifestyle he was chasing. And when Witchcraft reached out, he kept his word and declined. He's returned to full-time streaming and I genuinely have to respect it. He knows exactly who he is and didn't try to string the team along or try to half commit to something he wasn't going to go see through anyway. But I think his absence is gonna leave a bigger impact than people kind of realize. Because Baus wasn't just the Los Returnes top laner, he was the personality that gave the team a completely different flavor. His whole brand is this guy who plays the game in a way that seems designed to give his opponents a brain aneurysm, and honestly his own teammates too at times, but it somehow worked, and when it did, it was just as amazing to watch as it was hilarious. He'd get solo killed in the LEC and just tweet about it, quote, "Got solo killed every game so far with a sunglasses emoji," or something like that. And it was kind of just what the scene needed more of. It also made the viewing experience feel like a bit lighter, I guess, and more unpredictable, which is a really hard thing to replace. Dude was actually one of a kind. And Cadril is the other side of the absence coin. Nemesis has confirmed on stream that Cadril won't be involved with the Witchcraft project. He's got other plans. As I said before, he'll be watching and supporting from the sidelines, and based on his post Los Returnes tweet, literally just, "Do you believe in witchcraft?" I think he's more than aware of what's going on and is obviously still close to this group. He's just not in it. Now, there is a tiny bit of context worth mentioning now that EWC is coming up. Last year, Cadril co-streamed the Esports World Cup in Saudi Arabia, which split opinions. I Will Dominate, which is a friend of Cadril's, publicly turned down what he described as an enormous offer on the grounds it didn't feel right. Like, I think it was like a few months worth of pay or something, while Cadril took it. His reasoning was that he doesn't use his platform for politics, and honestly, I get where he's coming from. He's only in esports for a certain amount of time, so he's trying to make the most money out of it that he possibly can. I kind of also won't be surprised if he wasn't involved with Witchcraft because he's doing something with EWC. But that being said, a bit of Cadril's transferability won't go across to the new project. Cadril peaked at like 250k viewers during MSI and is one of the most watched figures in the game, which is why his Witchcraft absence is gonna sting a fair bit. But between all that and presumably whatever his next moves are, content and career-wise, Witchcraft just wasn't his focus right now, and I think that's fair. That being said, he was the engine behind so much of what made Los Returnes work off and on the stage, but I do think he deserves a breather. He is a workhorse. But the biggest asterisk in this whole witchcraft reveal is obviously Bwipo. He's ex-Fnatic, ex-FlyQuest, solid competitive pedigree, and most recently at Worlds 2025 as part of the NA representative slot. So on paper, the level is clearly there. But I can't talk about Bwipo joining this team without going over what happened last year, because you can't really separate the player from it at this point, and people in the community are already picking up on it. And to be honest, it may even be the reason why he wasn't picked up by a team yet. But if you do want the full in-depth story, the video I did on it will be in the description. As a refresher, back in September, I think it was, 2025, during a stream, Bwipo made comments suggesting that women shouldn't be playing competitive games at certain times of the month, specifically referencing menstrual cycles. He framed it as coming from personal experience, watching his own girlfriend get more irritated during that period, and actually tried to position it as helpful by suggesting women should use a secondary account or perhaps do VOD reviewing instead of playing, due to their perceived altered emotional state. And this obviously blew up with most of the community and even his colleagues blowing up at him. Azael called it one of the dumbest and most dangerous takes he'd heard in years. Shox went on TikTok and basically said, what do you think women do all day? They're out there breaking Olympic records, working 24-hour nursing shifts, but a game of League is where we draw the line. And Kelsey Moser, who's been in esports a long time, said it wasn't even the first time she'd heard this kind of thinking from Bwipo. And not only all that, the timing was genuinely shocking, because it was the same week that Riot's Game Changers Rising tournament was kicking off, which is a tournament literally designed to support women and marginalized genders in esports. As a reprimand, FlyQuest suspended him from the next LTA playoff match against VKS and donated his prize money to causes supporting women in gaming. He did apologize on X, and I think it was fairly genuine, saying, quote, "I know I fucked up. My comments were ignorant and disrespectful to women, including those close to me. I'm sorry to those I hurt." But following all this, Riot then went further. He'd been filmed for the World's 2025 Anthem music video as the NA representative, and when the controversy broke, Riot announced they were pulling him from it, which delayed the whole video. And because editing him out required significant production work, the entire Americas region ended up absent from that year's World's Anthem video. But on this, there were some valid questions about consistency raised here, because Shanks from AL had his own controversy around the same time, harassing a woman during an online debate stream. He did get a salary deduction and a warning from AL, but he still appeared in the World's video. So the conversation around Riot's selective enforcement is sketchy, especially given that the World's 2025 tournament was hosted across China. But that's a whole other rabbit hole we're not going down today. Either way, that's the full picture on Bwipo coming into Witchcraft and Witchcraft as a team and whatever else. He's got the skill, obviously, but his reputation as a player. Alright, to round out the video, I'm just gonna go in a completely different direction because there's something I thought you guys would want to know. As of patch 26.5, the last hit indicator is here, and this is all you need to know about it. Officially called the last hit assistance feature is this. When a minion is low enough to die to your next basic attack, its health bar changes color. So it's basically just saying, click now. Obvious in concept, but there's a few little things that we need to discuss. The system pulls from existing in-game damage calculations and accounts for permanent modifiers. So for example, if you buy a longsword or you level up an ability that adds base damage, like, I don't know, Varus W, the indicator updates in real time. But what it doesn't account for is proc-based stuff like Sheen or Jax W, top of my head, specifically because Riot didn't want health bars visually flickering around and confusing people. So you might occasionally catch a surprise last hit, but you should never really miss one the indicator told you to take. That being said, it is not a guaranteed indicator. As of right now, it's available in co-op versus AI, tutorials, swift play, custom games, practice tool, and RGM queues, and for brand new accounts, it's on by default. For existing accounts though, you do have to toggle it on. It's in the interface settings under health and resource bars, I believe. There are a few champions that aren't supported yet though, ones with kind of like weird auto attacks. Azir and Graves are probably the two main callouts, and ranged champions with lower base AD will still want to pre-fire their autos slightly ahead of the indicator to actually land the hit. That stuff still matters. The community reaction has been pretty split, and I'm not surprised, because on one side, this is a genuinely useful onboarding tool for new players. Last hitting is one of probably the steepest concepts to kind of grasp. New players are already struggling between juggling ability timers, wave states, if they even know what they are, opponent positioning, map awareness, all that kind of thing. So removing one layer of friction and letting them just focus on learning the rest of the game is actually a pretty smart call. League can be already pretty confronting to sort of get into. The basics can even feel a bit like unreachable, I guess, before they even get to have fun. There's also been the joke, of course, that, I don't know, a Lux or AP support now has an easier time stealing CS off the ADC, but yeah. Riot has been explicit though that this is aimed at newer players and won't be in ranked without a lot more monitoring and evaluation. So don't think of this as like Riot taking CSing away as a mechanic. It's just a learning tool sitting alongside the practice tool, so it's not replacing anything. But if I'm correct, I'm pretty sure Dota 2 and HOTS had their own sort of take on this kind of thing. And I mean, it kind of worked for them, so maybe it's okay. But let me know where you guys land on it in the comments below, because I've seen some genuinely heated and thoughtful comments on both sides. I mean, we all hated the jungle pathing thing when that first came around, but now it's not really spoken about anymore. So yeah, it just kind of helps newer players. Experienced junglers just toggle it off. Anyway, that's everything for the day. Let me know what you think down below, and if you've made it this far and aren't subscribed, you've probably been here before, and just assume that you are. If you want to double check that for me, it really does help the channel a lot. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another news video very, very soon. Bye!